Look at it. Look at it. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry, but I can't not cry. And I'm in my pajamas, and I didn't think I would cry about wallpaper, but here we are.
5 years ago, we bought this house. It's not anything like all of the Pinterest images that I have pinned of beautiful vintage kitchens and pretty floors and colorful cabinets, but as a low-income family, it was available and it was affordable, and fitting our needs was more important than buying something for the aesthetics. Before we moved in, we painted all of the ugly 1970s paneling with some white paint that the old owners had left behind. But I didn't realize that it was latex paint, and that is the worst thing you can put into a kitchen. It scratches easily, it holds on to grime, and in general, it just will never look clean. Still, I'm glad that we painted these cabinets because I would have been so depressed with the original brown, ugly cabinets. I didn't ever think we would be able to make upgrades though, because 2020 hit and that took a toll on our paychecks, and so I just tried to make it as pretty as I could. We got lucky finding this vintage stove online for $100, and we also found a fridge that would fit in the space that wasn't too expensive. Even with those upgrades, it wasn't my dream kitchen, but it wasn't until this year that we've started to see the returns on all of our hard work, and running this channel has made it possible for me to finally dive into our kitchen and make it into my dream kitchen. So I hope you'll join me in making this kitchen into the dream kitchen that I truly never really thought I would get. There's a lot that needs to be done before I can get into the planning, like taking everything off the walls and washing down the cabinets and removing the doors so that they can be properly scraped and sanded and painted like we should have in the first place. Or rather, like we would have if we'd had the money to get new paint. I want to stop right here and say how grateful I am for this channel and for everyone watching, because when I say that you are the people who have made my dreams come true, I really mean it. Without this channel, we would be struggling, and we would be somewhere where doing something like this would not be feasible, even doing it as low cost as I've tried to do it. We simply did not have extra, and I just want to thank you for being here. But now that I have removed the cabinets and generally gotten this kitchen ready, let's dive into the plan for what I want my kitchen to look like. Let's get into the plan for the kitchen, because of course I have to have a plan, I have to have a mood board, I have to have all of those things. And in order to do that, I'm going to introduce the sponsor of today's video, who is Milanote. Milanote is a creative organization tool for projects. So you can create to-do lists, mood board, cost list, a plethora of things for any creative project that you might have. It is a great visual organizing tool. So you can see at the very beginning of this board, I have a picture of our cabinets, because this is the actual color that the cabinets are going to be. And it is a color that we pulled from a 1950s paint sample card. You can see I have like tasks that I need to do. I have the inspiration. I really want it to feel very warm and vintage and authentically like you're walking into your grandma's house. And then out here, I also have pictures of my appliances, my red fridge and my 1940s stove. I have a picture of the wallpaper, which I already have. I've had for months and months, and I've been thinking I wanted to use it in the kitchen. Of course, there are subboards that you can create with Milanote, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. You can create boards for pretty much everything, and you can keep everything to do with your project in one place. So this is my little mood board for the kitchen. It is very specific. So I have a pink table in here, as well as my own appliances and my strawberry pots, and then I have the overall vibe and mood of the kitchen that I want. But here you can see I have all of my little inspiration tiles, and I'm actually going to change this floor out because I have not been able to decide whether I want a black and white floor, and it's so easy to do that. You just click and upload a new photo. I really love these patterned tiles, so I think that I'm probably going to go for this pink flower one because I love the colors of it, but I'm not 100% sure about how it looks with the rest of the colors. So that is the mood board. But the other board that I have is the decisions to make, and this is where I want to build it with you. You can see over here I have some knobs and some rugs, but I need to add in all of the floor tiles. I have a couple that are unsorted here. And I wanted to show you how easy it is to just pop in your images. So I'm actually going to upload all of the floor tiles that I have saved that I cannot decide upon. And we are going to import all of those to look at them all as a whole. And it's really nice because they show up here on the side, as you can see. These are my kind of top 3 here. I really love the pink one. However, I don't know if that will just be too many colors, because one of the things I get asked a lot about my outfits is how I put together outfits and like how do I create such cohesive looks. And I always say that I just take the overall color of a garment and pick the colors out of that. And the same applies to the kitchen, where I don't really know if this floor tile is going to go with the colors of the wallpaper as well as the cabinets. My husband is really partial to the pink tile, and so am I, because it's pink tile. So I think I will probably go with that one, but I have quite a few options here. And then I also need to add my other 2 rug decisions. Of course, they are both strawberry rugs. This is my other struggle, because you all know that my kitchen is strawberry themed. However, something that a lot of people don't know about me is that I don't necessarily want it to be like overtly, pungently strawberry. There are a lot of little strawberry touches, but overall I would like the feel to be more authentic and not as kitschy. So these are my rug decisions, and then I also want to paint the knobs, which I have. And so I just have to find a design that I like. So that is the plan for the kitchen. I really want it to feel very authentic, very lived in. If you have been following me for a little while, you may have seen the video in which I talk about publishing my own book, which is absolutely still happening. Milanote also sponsored that video, so they are a grand sponsor of dreams, are they not? So this is my book board, which you will see is, I think, very beautiful. And we have over here the dates for the things that I need to get done, the visuals, some quotes from the book, those kinds of things. And then if you want to pop in, there are sub boards, and I have character profiles, which I really love. This helped me when I was editing to really hone in on who the characters are and what they need and how my plot was going for that. I also have a mood board, and this beautiful thing is what my cover artist has as she is beginning the sketches for the cover. I am so excited about this. So that is my book board. And that was Milanote. Check them out through the link in my description below. I am sure you will love them as much as I do. I genuinely love the way that they are set up and the tools that they have for creative planning. I love that you can have a mood board, you can have all of your lists in there. I love that there's a feature where you can just tally up your costs and it'll add it up for you. I've been saving some receipts as I buy things in store so that I can put them in. So I will come in at the end of this video and tally all of that up, but definitely check Milano out if you have creative projects to do. I will be using them for all of my future book launches because it is the literal best tool that I could have, especially when I'm hiring cover artists and checking off my to-do list. It's all in one place. It's all online, so I'm not going to lose it as I do with paper things. I just really love them. So I'm going to stop gushing. Go check out Milano. Let's get back into this kitchen and make some decisions because that is what I have to go do now. When we put in the old oven, we had to cut down the cabinet space a little bit on that side, so my husband decided to make a new countertop for the area because it doesn't match the rest of the countertops and it was not very pretty. He made this countertop out of wood scraps from work, and they are all walnut end grain pieces, and then he covered it in epoxy so that it will be lasting and sturdy and easy to clean. Then began the process of cleaning all of the cabinets so that I could properly paint them. I also cleaned the inside of the cabinets because I knew that I wanted to put down shelf paper and this would need to be done anyway, but I wanted to paint first since some of the shelf paper was torn up from the cabinets and I would need to paint over the edges of the inside of the cabinets in order to ensure that none of the shelf was showing. Cleaning the kitchen was by far the longest part of this process, which people don't really talk about, the fact that you often have to wipe down the walls and wipe down the cabinets and wipe down pretty much every surface that you're going to work on multiple times when you are doing a kitchen project. And if I'm honest, the cleaning probably was the longest part of the process. But then it was time to paint. Some of you might be asking why I did not use a roller, and the very simple answer is that the roller I bought was too cheap and it left hairs everywhere. So I decided to just use a paintbrush, which also gave the space a little bit more of a vintage feel, I think. I have to admit, I'm a little bit of a chaotic painter, so if anyone is cringing that I didn't tape off the ceiling, don't worry. I know. I understand. But I also don't care about the ceiling. It's ugly, it's warped, and someday we might replace it if we ever have the money for that. Now the color that we're using is from an old 1950s paint sample card, which I mentioned earlier. It is Armstrong paint, and the paint sample card itself is called Interior Finishes and Matching Accents. So if you want to look that up, you can, but I would recommend if you want to find a green like this, just go on eBay and buy a lot of vintage paint sample cards, and I assure you there will probably be the same type of green. It really is the perfect color, and I'm so happy that we decided to color match it. I decided to paint underneath the cabinet here because it always just looks kind of gross and dirty. And the nicest thing about painting this side of the cabinetry was that I didn't have to be careful about the wall because it was going to get wallpapered. Then it was time to remove the doors and the drawers and everything that had to be scraped so that I could paint the cabinet boxes on the lower shelves. We decided not to scrape the cabinet boxes down here because, as you can see, the scraping job we attempted under the sink didn't go too well, and my husband tried to sand it down as well as he could, but in the end it was just a better idea to leave the paint and go over it. For the most part, these cabinet boxes have not gotten scraped up or dinged in any way, so I don't think that it will be a problem that we didn't scrape and sand them. It's so amazing to me how just a paint color can really change up the look of a space. As soon as I started putting on the paint, I just felt like my dreams were coming true, and that's kind of funny to say about a can of paint, but it really made everything look so different. We had discussed replacing the countertops here, but once we got the paint color on, we realized that actually we kind of like the yellow countertops. So let me know down below if you think that we should make more walnut end piece countertops or if we should keep the yellow. If we remove the yellow countertop, that also means we have to remove the yellow backsplash and redo all of the walls on this side of the kitchen, so it would be a pretty big project to do. But I don't know, I kind of like the yellow now that we have the green cabinets. And yes, my kitchen was messy for the majority of this video because we live here. I then decided to replace the light bulb above the sink with a smaller one so that we could put on this vintage light cover that they left here when they moved. It is original to the house, it is from the 1960s, and it is so much prettier than what they had here when we moved in. We had actually removed the light cover because, unfortunately, opening this one cabinet will hit the light cover. But honestly, we don't really need to open the cabinet all of the way anyway, so it's fine. Then it was time to add the shelf paper, and my biggest advice here is to use a ruler to smooth everything out. And then if you do find that you have some bubbling, I would just get a little needle or a pin and poke a tiny, tiny hole right where the bubble is instead of trying to smooth it out perfectly. And then the floor arrived. Alright, forgive me, I probably look an absolute mess, but I was laying out all the, just kind of looking to see how this floor tile would look. It is very cute by itself, however, I really, really hate this color, the accent color, with the paint. And it doesn't go with the wallpaper at all, which was a fear that I had. I wondered if that might be the case, and it's been confirmed. So I am going to try to find a different tile that could possibly be delivered by like tomorrow, because we still have to finish all the cabinets before we can even think about the floor. I don't like the way that it looks with the refrigerator. I don't like the way that it looks with the paint. It's just the wrong color. That's why initially I wanted to try and go with a black and white floor, which I think I will probably do, because I want it to be semi-neutral. I know a lot of people think I might be a little crazy for trying to go with a bold floor, but I think if it's black and white, it will be neutral enough that it will still go with the paint, it will still go with the wallpaper, and the wallpaper is like one of the biggest reasons I even started trying to look for green paint. It matches the cabinets almost perfectly, the greens in the wallpaper, so that's not something I want to change. So then it was time to start wallpapering. At this point, I had not decided how many walls I was going to be putting wallpaper up on, but I wanted to start here because it had the most little cutouts. And, well, this song should let you know how I felt about wallpapering and trying to get everything even and straight and smooth.
Everything is gonna be fine. Everything is gonna be lovely. Everything is making me panic, 'cause I have a lot of anxiety, but it's okay. I wish I had the scraper. This'll do.
This wallpaper is from Amazon. It is a peel and stick wallpaper, and I chose to go this route because the kitchen is a pretty high mess area and our cats like to scratch this door frame, so I didn't really want to pick anything expensive. And also this wallpaper matches the vibes of a few of the layers that were in here before in the 30s and the 40s. It is really beautiful, and if you are renting, this would be a great option to spice up your walls a little bit, because when you peel it off, it doesn't take the paint off underneath. My biggest tip is to very, very thoroughly clean the wall before you apply it, otherwise it won't stick, and you need a smooth wall.
I don't even have words for how obsessed I am. Look at it. Look at it. I think I've been living in this idea that we are poor, so we can't have a pretty house. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry, but I can't not cry. And I'm in my pajamas, and I've had this idea that we can't afford nice things. We can't have pretty things because we don't have any money. And it's so much better than I thought it would be. It's so much better than I thought it would be, and we're doing it for very cheaply still. And there are certainly problems, but look at it. Let this be your sign. If you have been afraid to personalize your home because of resale value, who cares about resale value? Just make your home beautiful. Buy cheap wallpaper. Buy cheap wallpaper. Just paint the thing if you can. Take the chance. Take the chance on a color you don't know that's going to work, on a wallpaper you're not sure if it'll look good. Just do it. If it makes you happy, just do it. And even if you don't have a lot of money, you still deserve to live in a space that makes you happy and that is beautiful. I didn't think I would cry about wallpaper, but here we are. It's my dream kitchen in a house that I didn't think was my dream house at all. I didn't think I would ever love to live here, but oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Anyway, I'm gonna finish.
I ended up needing to buy more wallpaper, so I did not actually finish wallpapering until a few days later when it arrived. I had initially put on these pieces because I thought I could just patch in what I needed, but in the end it was a better idea to remove them and just put in an entirely new piece that went all the way up to the cabinets. I did not wallpaper fully down to the floor behind the oven because you literally cannot see the wall behind the oven once it is pushed back into place. And I didn't really want to cut around all of the pipes back there that are fitted for if we ever wanted a gas oven. But I was also trying to not have to buy any more wallpaper, so I wanted to be as frugal as possible with my pieces. It took a lot of finagling to get some of these areas wallpapered properly, and I did do a few little tricks to make it so that you can't really tell where I patched in pieces, and it looked a little funny. In the end, again, I didn't care too much if it was perfect, because when you're standing further away, like you normally would in a kitchen, you can't really tell. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing up where they walk, up where they talk, up where they stay all day in the sun. Someday you'll see that I will be part of their world, walking around on their what-do-you-call-it feet. Someday I'll be someone who knows all of the words. But I am just so happy with the results, and I highly recommend getting a peel and stick wallpaper if you want to. I will link this one down below. Anyway, applying the wallpaper between the door and the window frame and above the window frame, this area took quite a long time. It took a lot longer than I expected it to, which I don't know why I expected it to be quicker, because I had to cut around so many things, but in the end we got it done. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. I also gave up matching the pattern completely. If you can't really tell from these shots, but there are actually 6 or 9 different flower patterns in the middle of all of the frames, and it was really hard to differentiate between all of them. Also, this space was so hard to get into. I'm so proud of myself for putting a piece in here, but it was not easy. My knife that I was using to slice the wallpaper did not fit in the space, and so I just had to make do however I could. But anyway, the flowers there are several different flowers in this pattern, and it was really hard to tell which one was which one because they're all very subtle in their differences. And I ended up just not even trying to match perfectly. As long as they kind of lined up, I figured it was fine. I think that's another piece of advice I would give anyone who is going to try to wallpaper, especially if it's peel and stick and it's not that expensive, it's not a super precious wallpaper, is that it's okay if things don't perfectly match up with a wallpaper like this. There are, of course, some patterns where you're going to have to pay really good attention to how things are matching so that it looks good. But with a pattern like this, where it is kind of frames with something inside of them, it was easier than I thought to kind of get away with not perfectly matching things. And part of the reason I did that was also so that I did not have to buy any more wallpaper. Then I decided to paint all of the vintage knobs. I did a fancy strawberry, and a lot of people liked this when I posted my pictures in a design group, but I didn't think it looked very vintage in the way that I wanted it to look. So I left the fancy strawberry, and I ended up just painting some strawberries in the corners with pink lines in between. And I liked that a lot better for the way I wanted the kitchen to look. For this, I used folk art paint. It is just acrylic paint, and then I sealed all of them with Mod Podge. Then I decided to paint the window frame on the table side of the kitchen, and I hated the white, so I painted it green, even though I do not plan to paint the wood door frames in this room. And finally, it was time to do the floors, and I went with black and white tiles in a classic diamond pattern. I finally decided on this after realizing that the flower tiles would not look how I wanted them to look, because black and white is such a classic choice, and I think that if I ever want to change up the wallpaper or the paint or anything in here, these will still go really well with whatever kitchen decor I choose. They are also just a very classic 1940s, 1930s, and 1950s style of tiles, so I think they work really, really well. If you are wondering about durability and how easy these were to install, first of all, my biggest piece of advice is to clean so thoroughly. As you can see here, I was cleaning each space before I put in the tile. We had already mopped the floors several times, but I wanted the floor to be as clean as possible so that the application was as sticky as possible, if you will. My second piece of advice is to wear knee pads. I didn't, and my knees were bloody by the end of this. It was a mistake I made. That please use knee pads. Save your knees. But as far as the ease of application, this was actually fairly easy. I think it took me about 2 hours to do all of the floor besides under the oven and the refrigerator, because I needed help to move those. And then when we moved the refrigerator and the oven, it really only took maybe 30 minutes to do the rest of the floor. The last thing we did on these floors, which we did not film, was sealing them with a vinyl floor sealant, which will go into all of the cracks and make sure that it is completely watertight so that there is no bubbling, water can't get under there, it's easier to clean, the dirt won't stick into the cracks, all of that stuff. We did everything we could to ensure that the floors were as sturdy as possible and will last us as long as possible. I will try to update y'all in like 6 months to, about 6 months to see how the floors are doing. But hopefully they last. I know a few people who have peel and stick floors that have lasted, so I am crossing my fingers that these will be fine. But then it was time to put the kitchen back together, so I added a shelf for my strawberry crocs on the wall. As well as some chalkware, and I put on all of the little bits. The wall covers I will link down below. I did shop off Amazon for the majority of the things in this kitchen, both because I needed to get it done quickly and because that was the most affordable place. I don't love shopping on Amazon. I know a lot of you don't care, but it is what it is. Then I put in a curtain underneath our sink because a couple of the hinges broke for the doors, and I actually really love this choice. It is a very, very vintage look. And my shelf paper was not done. I have to admit, it's still not done. And then I tried to put back my little salt and pepper shaker shelf, but disaster did strike a little bit.
Okay, well. Smile, you're on candid camera.
And it's really okay. This little Dutch boy has been broken quite a few times, so we just did not put that back in. But then we brought in the kitchen table, which you all have seen already, and it was time for a little smooching session. And we're basically done. I dressed up the table with a few of my favorite things, my vintage strawberry pie keeper, the radio that we absolutely do use. It's not vintage. My mother-in-law got it for me. My strawberry jars, some flowers, all those fun little things. This little strawberry thing was sent by a subscriber, Katie. Thank you so much. It's such a sweet gift. And after a few final touches, that was essentially it. And let's get into the reveal. let's get into the cost breakdown. And I'm sorry if you can hear my hot water heating up. I am making coffee. It just is what it is. So the first cost was the paint. That is one of the first things that we got for this kitchen. It was $36 for one can. However, it did cover all of our cabinets and we have extra, so if we want to paint anything else in this room, we can. I don't know that we will. I like the wood door frames, so I'm going to leave those, and I do have plans, future plans for the entry into the dining room, but I'll talk about that in a future video when I redo the dining room. So the paint was $36. It's not cheap. We did have to color match it, and I think that was part of the cost. So paint was $36. The wallpaper cost me $42.34. I'm gonna make my coffee real quick. And we're back. The coffee is brewing. So the wallpaper cost me $42.34. I originally bought 2 rolls, but ended up needing 2 more. So relatively cheap. It was $10 a roll. Really not a huge expense, and I really love it. I know there are people who are probably gonna be up in the comments being like, you left a gap. You didn't match it right. You did all these things wrong. It is what it is. It's my kitchen and I don't care, and nobody's gonna be looking that closely at my walls. And again, also because I have kids, I think I don't hold things to be very precious in my home. So if it gets scratched up or whatever, it'll be easy enough to remove and replace. That's one of the biggest reasons why I chose peel and stick. Not only will it be easily wipeable, but also if I need to remove a piece, I shouldn't have to repaint the wall beneath it in order to replace it with another piece. The tiles were by far the biggest cost of this project at $225, or $191 if you subtract the 2 boxes I did not end up using. As far as durability goes, I will have to update you. We did also buy tile sealant, vinyl flooring sealant, which was $20, and that just goes in between all of the little cracks to seal them up, to make sure that nothing can get into them, so they are fully waterproof. There should not be any water getting down under the tiles. And my husband used Gorilla Glue to stick down the tiles in the doorway and under the sink because we had to patch those floors with some floor mud. I will have to update you all on the durability of these floors. I will say that my sister-in-law has peel and stick floors in her son's bathroom, and she has 5 boys. And our neighbors have peel and stick flooring in their laundry room that they've had, I think, for 2 years, and it looks brand new still. So those things considered, I'm hoping that this floor will hold up. We do have, trim all the way around the room that will hold it down. I have sealed the floors. We applied them as well as we could, cleaning the floor as much as possible. The one thing I will say, as a mother of 5, if you have kids and you're thinking about doing a black and white floor, be aware that it shows all of the dirt all of the time. And that's okay. We live in the country. My kids are constantly, this is our front door. My kids are constantly coming in and out, and I am training them to go that way because it's circular. They can go into the house through the other doorway that's by our bedrooms. But that is something to be aware of. I have no regrets. I don't care that I need to clean my floor more often. I already needed to clean my floor now more often. You just couldn't see it. Now you can see it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. My husband cleans the floors more than I do. But that's something to be aware of if you have kids or you live in a particularly dirty area, or you're doing it in a place like the kitchen where everybody's walking through all the time. Just be aware the dirt will show up immediately. That is something you're gonna have to live with. The rugs were $45.72, and I love them. They have already proven to be very easily cleanable if you have OxiClean. My in-laws came over the day after we finished, and one of the rugs literally got delivered the day that they were here, like a couple of hours before we ate. And my brother-in-law spilled enchilada sauce on the rug, and it was just a big red stain. But with some OxiClean, it came right out. So I already know that they're durable. They are comfortable to stand on. They're cushiony. I really like them. I'm not trying to sell you these rugs. I'm just saying it's already proven they're very easy to clean. They are really good quality, and I'm hoping that they will hold up over time. Under this one, I do have like a little slippy mat, like a non-slip floor mat, which I need, but I'm not sure if I like it because it sticks to the floor. And when you're cleaning the floors, like, you want to be able to move those. So the non-slip floor mat was $4.99. The shelf paper which I have to admit I haven't finished putting on the shelves because that means I have to take everything out of all of my shelves, and I've just been slowly doing it. But the shelf paper was $16 and I found it in a local store. The one thing I will say with shelf paper is that you have to paint underneath it. So some of my drawers, it won't stick because it's just wood. So that is something to consider. The cabinet knobs I found on Facebook Marketplace, and they were vintage knobs, as I have said, and it was $26.99, no, $26.55 with the shipping included. So decent cost. You can find cheaper ones wherever you want to look, but I'm really glad that we have the vintage ones. And the nice thing about these ones is that because I had forgotten we needed to add knobs to these cabinets, we're actually 3 short somehow. I think I just didn't count one of the drawers on accident. But the nice thing about these wooden ones is that it's fairly easy to find some that look like them, and we've got the green paint, and I can just slap on a couple of new ones. The paint that I got for the knobs was folk art paint, which I like a lot. It's just acrylic paint, and that was $5.88 for the colors that I used. The table, my beloved kitchen table, was $50 with the chairs included. And then the thing that I forgot to add is the little light covers that I bought for all of the outlets. The toggle one was $8.99 and the other ones were $11.99. So the total of this project was $472.46. One thing I might mention is that I did not include the oven in this project, and that is because we got that like a while ago. And I could add that and then it would be $572. But we've had the oven for quite a while. It's not something that I specifically bought for this makeover. It is something that we needed. Our old oven conked out. We needed a new one. So like, give or take, it was about $500 to do this project. I am very proud of that fact. We tried really hard to be as money conscious as possible because, like I mentioned, we are coming out of being low income. We are trying to be smart with our money, but this is a project, this is the first project I wanted to do on the house to really make it my own house. I think I just want to reiterate here that even if you are low income, you deserve spaces that make you feel good, and it could take a while. It could take a while to get there. It's been 5 years of living here and not having a kitchen that I particularly loved. I am very lucky that I have the job that I have. I understand that that is a big privilege in and of itself, but I would say even if you don't have a ton of money, buying $20 worth of wallpaper to get yourself started is worth it. It is worth it. You deserve to have a space that makes you happy, and you can do it for relatively inexpensively. So that was this video. Thank you so much for watching if you are here. Thank you so much to Milanote for sponsoring this video. I literally could not have done this without them, and I genuinely really love the way that they're set up, the way that you can do pretty much anything you want to within the boards and have it all be together, and like the tallying up costs is so useful. I will be using Milanote for the rest of time for all of my creative projects. It has been so helpful and it's free. So check them out below for free. Use it for whatever projects you have. If you are new here, please subscribe if you like vintage homemaking. If you want to be around a space that's not going to make you feel bad about your own house, because I have a sink full of dirty dishes. I show my messes. I do not hide them for the camera. That is everything that my channel is about. Is not about making you feel bad about your space. It's about hopefully giving you the tools and the ideas that you need to make it a place that you love and make it a place that you can feel peaceful and happy and like find joy in your surroundings. I hope you remember that whoever you are and wherever you are, you deserve love, you are valued, and you are wonderful. I hope that you feel loved and safe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!